Alright, I've skipped ahead a little bit, and I have built one side of my wishbone suspension, or trailing arm, whatever you want to call it. And all I've done is taken the one end of the shackle that we put bushings in and welded it to the end of 1x2. Now, this ain't gonna be 100% perfect, because the only thing I did was check it for square. So I'm gonna have to do my damnedest, which ain't gonna be too hard, to line these back up when I go to make sure they're both lined up. And then all I did was start with a piece of 1.5 inch wide, just flat stock, welded it here, there, and as I went around, beat it down and put some welds on it. And the way I kept from burning the rubber out was kept a spray bottle handy, put a good tack on it, spray it, tack, spray it, beat it, spray, tack, beat it, and then once I got to the end, just bent it over, rested away, and put a good weld across it. And then it'll just end up getting bolted into the rear end. Let me take a break, I'm hot. Get something to drink. Dogs are out here panting to death. And I'll end up making the other one and possibly bolting the rear on. My goal for today, before I'm done, is to have the whole rear suspension hooked up, airbags and all. So hopefully I might get a video of playing with the rear suspension today. If not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe Sunday, early part of next week, because I went to spray that hood yesterday. I sprayed a hood yesterday, and I opened it up, brand spanking new hood. It's all dented up, dinged up, and nothing can be do about it. I gotta fix it because he's been sitting on it for 3 months. And the problem with that being is now you can't take it back. And the fucking kicker is he decided to sit on it for 3 months. Didn't even say nothing. Kept bugging me about it. You don't pay my hood for my dad? Yeah. Kept telling him, yeah. So he finally drops it off last week on like Wednesday or Thursday. Calls me the next day. Hey, you doing my hood? And like, how you gonna sit on it for 3 months at the house and then drop it off one day and want it done? It's freaking ridiculous. And now it's got dents and dings in it, and I gotta fix it and do body work and seal it, and it costs me even more material. So that's why I've been more and more getting away from everybody else's stuff. I got into this, and I learned to paint cars, I learned to do body work, I learned to weld, I learned how to do all of this just so I could work on my own stuff. I've been out, I've done it for a living, just so it could be free on the job training. You'd be surprised how much the older guys will want to teach you. Just ask. Pick up a book, get the internet, any way means impossible. I mean, as much as I've done, I still learn every day. Just by playing, you can teach yourself things just by trying it. So, but I'm going to go inside in the house, take dogs in for a little bit. I'll be back in a little bit. As promised, I've kind of went a little farther on without you guys. It's a little chilly yesterday and windy, and wasn't exactly good enough to make a video. The wind was blowing and it was a pain in the ass. So I went ahead and got the mounts made up for each side of the trailing arms, And let's see, I don't know if you'd be able to get into that. It's a little difficult to see, but all it is my trailing arm just bolted in between with C U-bolts and clamped on both sides. And went ahead and took the spring purchase, welded them in, made mounts for the airbags. So I happen to have forgotten my freaking air blower. Well, come on then. Come on. Come on. There you go. Come on. Come on, Bubbles. Come on. Who's your baby? Who's your baby? Come on. Come off that guy. You want to sit up here? Sit up here. Huh? Ready to go for a ride? Huh? Go for a ride? Whoopsie. Right there. Yeah. Come on. So as you can see, air suspension works. And while I got that done pretty early. What I did is take some pipe, tubing, it's not real thick, and cut the length for either side, and then split it down the middle and slid it over top, and then weld it on. So now, it's pretty stiff instead of flat sheet metal, and it's better than a freaking piece of 90. And I've done the same down both sides of it, but all I've done so far, I haven't welded it in yet, either one in. So, and cut enough of this back here so that way the seat will come up. Had some issues when it came to putting airline in. I don't like using this plastic airline. I've had issues freaking somewhere airline blows out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Sure enough, that's when it will blow out. But so if that'd be the case, I'm going to hardline it. Well, obvious choice would be brake line, as you can imagine. So, went and got some adapters to do brake line, and can't get enough of them. Apparently, I had to go to one hardware store, then the auto parts store, back to the hardware store, and I ain't even got enough to hook it all together. I got enough to run the lines to some sort of bank, but nothing to tee them together. Because I'm not doing front, back, side to side, 10 switches, all that mumbo jumbo. I just want one switch for the rear and one switch for the front. Excuse me, the only reason I'm not doing one switch or valve for all of it is because the simple fact is the front weighs more than the rear. If it's got two people in it, the rear weighs more than the front. Bags are bigger in the back. So airspace and pressure-wise, if they're all tied into the same system, then that means you pack enough weight in the ass of it that it's all going to the front, and the ass is going to sag. And we don't want that because we're not putting shocks. We're not putting springs. Nothing. All we're doing is airbags. Shit simple. Easy to drive, easy to work on. I don't even may not even paint this daggone thing. I might, my old man's got a buddy that does pinstriping and stuff. I might have him do that. Have him pinstripe it up. Put something, you know, some Hot Rod City on the side of it. Just for shits and giggles. So, I mean, that's all this thing is. It's a toy. And, you know, as we get older and we get bigger, so do our toys get bigger. And a lot more expensive.